Hey everybody, this is Bob Kovacs here at Wirefly with a Wirefly cell phone Schmackdown. On the left, we have the Apple iPhone 4S, Apple's latest version of the iPhone. It's a very nice phone, and of course it's extremely popular. On the right, we have the HTC Rezound for Verizon. Now, this is the Sprint version of the iPhone 4S, and of course the HTC Rezound is on Verizon. It runs Verizon's 4G LTE network, and I'll be talking about that certainly later. But let's get started with the Schmackdown. These are always running a little long, so I'm going to try to make this one go a little bit faster. Let's compare these two phones. Compared to the iPhone 4S, the HTC Rezound is absolutely a monster. I mean, look at this thing. We have on the iPhone a 3.5-inch display. Over here on the Rezound, it's a 4.3-inch display, a much bigger display. Now, up until the introduction of the Rezound, the iPhone was the leader in resolution in terms of the absolute clarity of the image. The iPhone has an LCD display with a resolution of 640 by 960 pixels. Now, the Rezound is the first Android phone to come out with a resolution of 720 by 1280 pixels. So this is a true HD display. Now that implies a couple of other things. This display on the Rezound is in the standard HD aspect ratio of 16 by 9. That means it's 16 units wide by 9 units high when you hold it horizontally like this. The iPhone 4S doesn't correspond with that same aspect ratio. It's a very minor point, but if you watch a high definition video, it perfectly fills the display on the Rezound, but you'll get some black bars on the video over here on the iPhone. It's not a big deal. You know, it's really a beautiful display, especially considering how small it is. But in overall terms of resolution, the Rezound actually has a higher resolution display. It has more pixels per inch on its display than the iPhone 4S has, and also the iPhone 4 before it, because they both use the same 640 by 960 display. Don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful display, fantastic clarity, but the fact is that there's actually a little bit more clarity on the Rezound's display, even though it's bigger. It actually has more pixels per inch. So the display round goes to the HTC Rezound. However, look at the size of these two things. Holy cow, the Rezound is a monster compared with the iPhone. I mean, just take a look at these guys. Let's put it here where it's a little less busy. The Rezound has a bigger footprint when laying flat, and of course it's much thicker. So the size and weight, because the iPhone 4S weighs 4.9 ounces and the Rezound weighs 5.6 ounces, the size and weight rounds go to the iPhone 4. Which one would I rather have in my pocket? I'd rather have the iPhone 4S in my pocket. It feels a little bit more dense because it packs its lighter weight into a smaller space. Almost fell out of the ring there. While the Rezound somehow feels a little bit lighter because it takes its weight and it spreads it out over a broader amount of space. But the fact is that the iPhone 4S weighs less and it's smaller than the Rezound. Okay, so the size and weight go to the Apple iPhone 4S. Now let me talk about a couple of other things. The Rezound, not only does it, of course, come with a industry-leading display that's 720 by 1280, but it contains Beats audio technology, and it comes with a pair of iBeats headphones. I mean, it comes out of the box with iBeats headphones. So, you know, if you are talking about audio, I would guess that the audio round goes to the HTC Rezound. It comes with headphones. Not only does it come with headphones, it comes with arguably a very desirable pair of earphones, those being the iBeats earphones. So I've used the iBeats earphones and they work very well. Not only do they work as earphones, but they also have a built-in microphone so you can make phone calls with them. Now the iPhone 4S, I believe, comes with a pair of earphones, but they are more or less standard earphones. They're not tuned to produce the kind of bass bass that the iBeats headphones do. So I'm going to give the sound round over here to the Rezound, mostly because of the Beats audio technology and the fact that it comes with a pretty pricey pair of earphones. The Apple iPhone, of course, is a very good music playing machine. Both of these are very good for music playing. They both sound great. But of course, if you're used to the iPod operating paradigm, you might be more familiar, feel more comfortable with how the iPhone works. So I just want to say some things in favor of the iPhone. This is a very nice phone. It is a powerhouse, but it's going up against the HTC Rezound, which is also a powerhouse in its own regard. Now, let me talk about some more things. These both have dual-core processors. You have a 1 gigahertz dual-core processor. In the iPhone, you have a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core processor over here. They both have RAM that works with the processor. You've got 1 gigabyte of RAM over here. I'm not exactly sure about the complement of RAM in the iPhone. I've heard alternately that it's 1 gigabyte and it's 512 megabytes. So I'm going to be charitable and say that it's 1 gigabyte. Of course, the overall processor speed does not really mean the same thing as speed of the actual phone itself. Now, on both of these phones, I've loaded an app called LinPack. This is the only app I'm aware of, the only benchmark app that will run on both the iPhone and on an Android phone. So I'm going to go ahead and run LinPack for what it's worth, and we'll see what it does. I'm going to run the benchmarks, and we'll see what sort of results we get. Over here on the iPhone, it's done. This is megaflops. That stands for million floating point operations per second. Megaflops, yes, that's actually a unit of measurement. And we have 133 over here on the iPhone. On the Rezound, we have 73.4. So we have roughly twice as many megaflops going on over here on the iPhone 4S than we have on the Rezound. So by the one benchmark test I have at my disposal, it tells me that the iPhone 4S is running faster, maybe close to twice as fast as the HTC Rezound. Don't really know how accurate that is, but both tests seem to run properly, and those are the results that I got. Okay, so both of these are very fast phones. It looks like the iPhone 4S has taken the benchmark speed test round right there. Let's talk a little bit about the cameras. They both have cameras. Here it is on the iPhone, and here it is on the Rezound. They're both 8 megapixel still image cameras. You have a single LED flash on the iPhone, dual LED flash. Now, I took photos with both of these, and I didn't get the same models in both of the photos, but let's go ahead and take a look at that. As you can see, I'll put the iPhone 4S photo up first. A little soft on the faces, softer than I was expecting it to be. When I go to the Rezound's picture, it's a little darker, but it's a little sharper. I don't know, I'd say it's roughly even. I've taken video with both of these phones. Again, I'm not going to go ahead and run the video because it consumes time, but the video seems to be roughly even. Maybe a little brighter on the iPhone, a little darker, but a little sharper on the Rezound. The Rezound's audio is maybe a little bit better for the video. So I'm going to say that maybe the Rezound comes out slightly ahead on the photo, and they break even with the video. So that's a very slight close call in the pointing at the Rezound in that regard. So now it comes down to a network speed test. This is a 3G phone. This is a 4G phone. I'm going to tell you in advance that the HTC Rezound clobbers the iPhone in the network speed test, and it really, it's not a true indication of what the iPhone 4 can do. So let's go ahead and take a look at the video that I shot on my desk. I get strong reception on Verizon's LTE network at my desk, and I also get Sprint reception pretty decent at my desk, better than I get it down here in the studio, which is one floor below my desk. So I'm going to go ahead and run that video now, and you'll see what I got. I'm running a network speed test that compares the Apple iPhone 4S, that's on the left, with the HTC Rezound, that's on the right. Now the iPhone 4 is running on Sprint's 3G network, and the Rezound is on Verizon's 4G LTE network. So I don't really expect these two to be anywhere similar, but I think it's my obligation to show you what I get. So let me go ahead and get the speed test running on both of these phones. And now since they're running on two different networks, I'm not too concerned with the phones being right next to each other. But here we go. The ping test comes in on the iPhone 4S at 557 milliseconds and 76 milliseconds on the HTC Rezound. Now we're doing the download test. The Rezound is already completed with the upload and download test with an out of the ballpark figure of 27.5 megabits for the download speed and 12.6 megabits for the upload speed. Completely outstanding. The iPhone 4S, on the other hand, on Sprint's 3G network, got 340 kilobits per second as the download speed. Now, I did a test earlier, and it was considerably faster than that. It was around 900 kilobits. Still, that's 0.9 megabits versus 27.5 megabits over there. And for the upload speed, we've got 30 kilobits, or 0.03 megabits. As you can see, the Rezound absolutely trounced the iPhone. Now, I ran a network speed test earlier on the iPhone 4S and got a result of 0.91 megabits per second. In other words, that's 910 kilobits. However, 27.5 megabits is that's my new record with Verizon's LTE network. That is the highest download test result. No, folks, I did not use Wi-Fi. That was the actual download speed from Verizon's LTE network. That is completely outstanding and is arguably faster than the speed response I get from Verizon's Fios network, the fiber optic network that I have out of my home. Okay, I've talked a lot about these two phones. Which phone do I like using more? Well, some of that boils down to the user interface. Now, the Rezound has HTC's Sense user interface, and with Sense, you have 7 pages of Android icons and widgets, and you can just keep going around and around in the same direction. With the Apple iPhone, you have 4 pages. My understanding is that as you download more apps, the pages will expand to fill those the pages will expand to accommodate additional apps. But when you get to the end of the pages, you're at the end and you got to go back the other way. I like the ability to go around and around. It lets me get to stuff faster. There's one other cute thing that you get here, and that's the barrel roll that's called the carousel roll that the Sense 3.0 will do. This has Sense 3.5. I'll come back to that just a little bit more. So I like the user interface a little bit better. Now, over here on the iPhone 4S, you have, of course, apps in the form of these icons, and then you have these tiny little widgets. For instance, all the productivity apps are within that one little icon there. That's pretty cool. I like that. So that's a clever thing on Apple's part. Still, I like the user interface a little bit better over here. I said it was Sense 3.5. Now, HTC sells a little gizmo called a charm, and if you plug a charm into the standard 3.5 audio jack, you can then get it to blink when you get a phone call or when you get a text message or when somebody leaves a message for you. The charm will blink, so you can drop this in a purse or a pocket, put the charm on the outside, and you can tell when it blinks that you have a new message. So you no longer have to wonder, is that my phone ringing? You can look at the charm. Now, the charm does not come with the Rezound. It only comes with the HTC Rime, which is another phone for Verizon, but you can buy it as an optional device. So if you're the kind of person who always loses the phone in your purse and you don't know whether it's your phone that's ringing versus somebody else's phone, maybe you'd want that charm, and it will work here on the Rezound. Okay, I'm going to wrap up the Wirefly cell phone Schmackdown. I didn't do a lot of things to compare these two phones, but I have used them both. I personally prefer the HTC Rezound. I think it has better audio. I think it has a better display. I like the user interface better than Apple's, the iPhone 4S's interface over here, which I find is, frankly, getting a little boring now. So it's pretty. It works very well. It's very smooth. It's light and it's compact and it's a very slick package, but I like the power and the feel and the customization. I like the fact that I can easily pop the battery out of this. I can take along a spare battery and replace it if I want to. I can upgrade the existing battery with a higher capacity battery. Those are options that I get here on the Rezound that you don't get on the Apple iPhone. So I'm declaring the winner of this Wirefly cell phone Schmackdown to be the HTC Rezound. These are both really good phones. I would be proud to carry either of them in my pocket, but frankly, I would actually prefer to carry the HTC Rezound. This is Bob Kovacs here at Wirefly with the end of a cell phone Schmackdown. Thanks for watching.